All right. Oh. Y'all, the mouse is like... Find out that as a logician, I do not have much patience for stuff that does not work. Carefully, carefully. Yes, yes. Okay, we're gonna do this for now. Okay. When I get down there, if y'all can't see it, remind me. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you my letter, and then what you'll see on the right side is you'll see that there's a list of formatting stuff, and we're going to go through and we'll jot down the formatting because you're going to eventually mimic this letter for yourself. All right, so here we go. Dear student, welcome to your junior year of high school. Before we jump into what will probably be your toughest year in school so far, I want to take a little time for you to get to know me and for me to get to know you. The best learning takes place when you trust the people in your learning community. We have the next 9 months to get to know each other. A letter of introduction is a solid and comprehensive way to start. My personality test calls me the logician. ISTJ. Which is kind of funny because a few years ago I found that I was an ESTJ. Maybe as I get older, I become a little more introverted, or perhaps the career that I chose takes so much extroverted time that my personal time has become more introverted. The quickest way to get on the logician's the introduction to this personality states that combining laziness and dishonesty is the quickest way to get on the logician's bad side. And I guess I do agree with this. I feel like I can fix not understanding, but I can't fix your work ethic. First, for the strengths listed, I do agree that I am honest, direct, and strong-willed. Honesty has always been something that I admire in people that I surround myself with, even if that honesty will hurt my feelings. Though it is seen as a strength, I feel that sometimes my honesty can be seen as unkindness. I do believe that I am practical in most situations, which I feel plays a role in honesty. The idea that a logician makes decisions with effectiveness in mind more so than empathy is something that I find as a strength for me, but again, can be seen as a weakness if it seems as if I lack empathy for a situation or for a person. Next, I do believe that my stubbornness, my rule-following tendencies, and my propensity to be a tad bit judgmental can be seen as a weakness. While I do believe that following the rules is needed, I do find it difficult to figure out when it is time to make an exception. I try to remind myself that my priorities are not the priorities of others. I do agree that I am unlikely to respect people who disagree with facts, but I don't know if I agree that this is a weakness. How do we argue with facts? I understand that there are different views of those facts, but can we argue with facts? Finally, of the people that are identified as a logician, I am most drawn to Ned Stark from Game of Thrones and Jason Bourne from the Bourne series. Ned Stark was the patriarch of the family, dependable, insightful, protective, trusting, but at the same time, those are the traits that led to his tragic end. Spoiler alert. Jason Bourne, because duh, he is bad. Bourne is an expert, decisive, and methodical. I hope this gives you a little insight into who I am, not only as a teacher, but as a person that has a life, well, sort of, outside of school. This class isn't easy, but I respect your decision to take this course, to challenge yourself, and to persevere through the toughest parts of it. Best wishes, Miss Smith. All right, so we're going to look at the format. So we're looking at the format, meaning like, what are the pieces and parts of this letter? So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in, and we'll do this on anything that we read. I'm going to number the body paragraphs so that when we talk about paragraphs or when we talk about structure, we will be able to talk about like the pieces and parts of it easily together. So format-wise, what do y'all see format? Like, what do you see starting from the top to the bottom? How does it open up? Yep, so you have a greeting. You have what's called a greeting. That is the opening. So notice that you're writing to me, so you're going to do Miss Smith. I am not a Mrs. I am not married. And then it has a comma. You also have a closing, which is usually, could be like sincerely, Thank you. Love is probably not appropriate for this letter, right? To me. All right. The first paragraph is what? What's the contents of the first paragraph? You have an introduction to you, so it's an introduction to you. Okay. Paragraph 2 is what? What's in paragraph 2? Yeah, so it's the actual character trait that was identified. And I found this, I'm going to kind of mark where I find stuff, in the introduction. So when you take the test, there's like an introduction to that character, and that's where I found that information. And then there's strengths and weaknesses. You'll click on that tab or you'll read more where it says. And then there's stuff about like relationships and careers and something else in there. But I'll kind of show you where I found stuff. All right, paragraph 3. What's in that one? Yep. And again, I found that in the strengths and weaknesses section. You'll see it. It's pretty evident. And even in the strengths, I agreed with parts and disagreed with parts. So you can agree or disagree with what you're finding in there. Paragraph 4 contains what? Yep. And again, I agreed with some parts, disagreed with some others. Paragraph 5.
Different characters.
Yep. So it's like your person or character. And you'll see in the directions down below, you have to choose at least one. That is at the bottom of the introduction page. So I found that at the bottom of the introduction page is where I found that. So once you read the introduction, you'll scroll down and there'll be like some characters across the bottom. I did mine on my laptop. You can do it on your phone if you need to. Paragraph 6 was what? Yeah, like kind of like a closing. Notice that you also have indentions. So those are the basic formats, right? Once you take your test, this is where I would jot down your notes for what you like. So like as you're reading your introduction, jot down some of the things from the introduction that you like, some of your strengths, some of your weaknesses. You can jot that down there. This is more for you to use as the guideline here. I'm not grading this part, right? But this is kind of for you to take notes on. If you'll look down below, here are all the guidelines for the requirements. Requirements for your letter. Typed and printed out is preferred, but neatly handwritten is acceptable if typing is not possible. You will just need to make copies before you come in here, or print before you come in here. I don't take email copies. You can't like leave and go to the library, so you need to get that done before you come in. But our librarians are great. They're here before school, after school, lunch. It's pretty easy to get in there. Proofread for spelling, grammar, and syntax errors. For the love of all things holy, capitalize letters. Please, you're writing to an English teacher. So capitalize stuff, right? I don't expect you to have everything like commas in the right places. Y'all have been taught somewhere in your life that every time you take a breath, you should put a comma in, which is absolutely not a grammar rule. I'm not judging you on that. Spelling, make sure you spell check, make sure you use the correct language, stuff like that. 1 page typed, please, no more than that. I have like 120 of y'all, so I have 170 something overall. So 1 page typed. So if y'all will do basic MLA, right, 12-point font for me because I'm old and I need to be able to read it. I don't have to have Times New Roman. As long as it's not curly font or script font, I'm okay. I tend to go Conforta, I think is it what it is, or Quicksand is usually like the two that I like. Double space is usually MLA. This one, I think to get everything to fit, I did 1.15 spacing, which was enough for me. Like it was easy to read. If you could stay away from single spacing, that's good. My margins are MLA margins, which are 1 inch all the way around. Follow all the guidelines of a personal letter. It's all the stuff that we listed up there. Make sure to include 1 paragraph about your strengths, 1 paragraph about your weaknesses of your trait. You can agree and disagree within each of these categories. Include a paragraph explaining how at least one of the people or characters provided relates to you. I chose 2 just because I like those. Include small pieces of evidence from the personality results. So you saw that, right, when I have like I embedded text there, embedded text there, embedded text here. So when we talk about embedding, y'all have done this since you were freshmen, right? It's like the words from the results plus your words combined together, right, to where they grammatically fit. So you have that. Balance friendly letter language with an awareness of your audience. I am your teacher, so obviously like slang and curse words shouldn't be in your writings anyways. But the other thing that I like kind of see with like formal writing and a little bit friendly letter writing is like, you'll see like some of this here is kind of like my side conversation. It's a little bit of my sass. Same thing like down here and down here. Those are just ways that I kind of put in my own little sassiness in there. You don't have to do it. A lot of stuff that you write, you're told like, I shouldn't hear you in your writing, and that is true for most parts. For our whole first quarter, you won't really have voice. Y'all should all probably sound the same. For this, I want to be able to hear a little bit of you. When we do rhetorical analysis, I won't hear any of you. More when we get to argument, you get your own voice in there and your own opinions. That's when you'll hear a little bit more. So that's kind of the balancing of the friendly language, the friendly letter. Bring to class on Thursday, my birthday, on Thursday. All right, typed or handwritten. Good. So plan today and tomorrow. Here's what you're doing. So you'll have the rest of the day to work on this. Tomorrow, I'm going to introduce you to a 1-pager. I need all your supplies in class with you tomorrow because we're going to set up your notebooks and stuff tomorrow as well. So you need your supplies for class. We'll do our 1-pager. That will need to have color. I have some markers in here, but it'll need to have like color added to it at some point somehow, unless you want to explain to me why it's all black and white. I mean, you might have a reason for that. That's fine. But it's going to be like a 1-pager about you as well. All right. So that's today and tomorrow. So really kind of today and tomorrow, that 1-pager might take you 30, 40 minutes. This, I'm probably thinking will take you 40 to 50 minutes because the quiz itself takes probably about 10, 15 minutes. So when you log on, and I'll show you where to go, but you could go on our syllabus under today's homework. It tells you go to 16personalitytraits.com. Here's what I'm going to tell you when you take the quiz. It's one of those where it's like, you know, at parties, you like to talk to everybody and get to know everybody. And then it's strongly disagree, strongly agree. And then you have the very middle, right? And you have 3 dots on either way. I suggest a couple of things. 1, don't think about it too long. Go with your gut instinct. It's more accurate. 2, try not to stay right down the middle, because if everything you do down the middle, like you have no opinion either way, then you're going to end up getting kind of skewed results. So take it at like as quickly as you can, but as honestly as you can. Some of you might have done this for Miss Andrus before. Friday, I think some of her kids took this. If you have those test results, then you can use those test results for this letter, right? That's fine. You'll sit in that front row over there. So you can use those test results if you still have those. There's an option for you to get it emailed to you. So either I did it over a couple of days, like writing the letter. So I just kept the tab open, or if you feel like you might lose that tab, email it to yourself. I don't know if you get like updates over and over and over again afterwards. But yeah, I think that's it. Yes?
Do you want MLA heading too?
No, for this one it's fine because your name's in the bottom. Just make sure you do your first and last name.
Okay.
Yeah. I might tell you like once I pick it up, but if your first and last name's on there, I should be fine because I'm going to pick you up per class period. Yes.
I don't have a computer.
Great. You have a phone? Okay. You can do that on your phone. All right, next. Anything else? I don't mind if you want to plug in your headphones and listen to your headphones, as long as I can't hear. So today is one of those times where you can do that work. Otherwise, you're working. Yep.
So we can write it or type it just to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Either one. I prefer typing just because handwriting, but if you like don't have time to print, then that's fine.
Okay.
And when you do stuff where you have to print it, y'all, this is. Oh. When we do stuff to print, did I already tell y'all this? Or did I tell last class this? When we print stuff. Oh. Oops. Oh. When I ask for stuff to be printed.